Hi, friends. Hey, today is Baker Creek Seed Haul Part 2. As promised, today is the flowers for the pollinators and for the humans. So I've got about 15 varieties here. So let's get started. First one up, Agastache April Sprite, or excuse me, Apricot Sprite. It's a perennial in zones 6 through 9. The blooms appear in mid to late summer. Plants reach about 15 to 18 inches tall and 2 feet wide. Blooms are highly attractive to hummingbirds and other pollinators. And Agastache is really known for the beautiful teas that it makes. So I'm going to try to put together a small tea garden this summer. It requires full sun and it is frost hardy. Next up is one of our stocks, Asa No Kagayaki. And I apologize for anyone who actually knows how to pronounce that properly. It translated, it means morning glow. It's a single stem variety requiring a chilling period before being planted late winter or early spring. They're edible and they have a lovely warming flavor. Now, to me, these would be absolutely perfect for winter sowing. So I think when I do that this week, I will add these to my list. Next up is Celosia, Asian Garden. Uh, these flowers apparently make a lovely tea or a pink lemonade. They call this one a total pollinator magnet. It's early blooming, it's good branching, and it has a very bushy habit. And it requires full sun. Next up is the beautiful casual sunflower called Astra Gold. I kind of like the shaggy look of these. These grow to about 5 to 6 feet tall, about one foot wide. They have multi-branch. It's a multi-branching variety, which I think makes it even more fun. So the pollinators love it, and you can cut them for bringing indoors without removing the whole plant. Sometimes when sunflowers are single stem, you take the flower in and the sunflower is done. Well, this one you can take some in and the sunflower will continue to grow. Next up, sweet pea Beaujolais. This sweet pea blooms from spring to fall, but prefers mild summer weather. So I'm going to see how this might do because we don't really have mild summer weather. The vines will reach 6 to 8 feet tall. The stems are sturdy and the blooms are large, which makes this one lovely for cutting. One thing I do want to point out, which I'm sure many of you know, sweet pea seeds and flowers are poisonous. I have occasionally seen people growing these right along with the sweet peas that they're eating. And I just think that's very gutsy because they're not always that different looking when it comes to picking pods. So be careful of that. And the more you cut or remove spent blooms, the higher the production on the sweet pea, which is beautiful. Snapdragon, this is a Snapdragon Cherry Twist. It's a cherry red and buttercream. The plants reach just 20 to 24 inches tall. These blooms are also edible, which I think would make it and I've never tasted a Snapdragon blossom, but I'm going to do that this year. Next up is another sweet pea. Sweet pea, this is an old-fashioned grandiflora type sweet pea, which means they're not necessarily produced for cutting, but they will be very prolific, and apparently the scent of this is outstanding. So I'm very excited to try this one. And again, remember that uh, sweet pea pods and flowers and seeds are poisonous. This is another Agastache called Lavender Martini. This is perennial in zones 6 through 10. Otherwise, you can grow it as an annual. Apparently, these blossoms are irresistible to pollinators. Plants can be they can be planted in pots because they only reach 10 inches tall. So this is a very compact little perennial. It's a fabulous choice for a tea garden. So here we go. It also likes full sun, and it is frost hardy. Next up is butterfly pea lavender queen. This is actually a member of the bean family, but the blooms are extra fancy and ornamental, and they also are edible. And this one actually does well in heat and humidity, which in our summers, that kind of defines our summers, heat and humidity. So I'm anxious to see how this one will grow. I have several trellises that I'd like to um, work on, like try this one and see how it looks. The vines are about 6 feet tall, and they grow well in full sun to partial shade, and they can really take the heat. The next one is Calamintha Marvelette Blue, perennial in zones 4 through 9, compact bushy plant with spiked blue flowers that emit a scent that is cool and minty. This also makes a stunning herbal tea, and that's popular with a variety of pollinators, especially butterflies. 8-inch, 8 to 10-inch plants form tidy clumps, and this is not an aggressively spreading perennial. It'll grow in sun to part shade, and it also is frost hardy. Look at this stunning aster here. This is Matsumoto blue. Plants stand about 26 inches tall. They are semi-double blooms reaching about 2 inches. It likes full sun, and it prefers to be deadheaded so that it will produce more flowers. Next up is another stock called Murasaki No Uta. Again, apologies if I just totally butchered that name. This will grow 34 to 40 inches tall. And this is interesting. I'm going to do a little research on that. But these apparently are cousins of the cabbage, which news to me. And they have also got edible flowers. So they require full sun, and they are somewhat frost hardy. And they suggest succession planting for continuous blooms. Next up, Oriental Lantern Snapdragon. And these are small snapdragons. These will only get about 12 inches tall, and they like full sun. And I think those will be really cute around like some of the edges of my raised beds. Just for, I'm trying to combine more of my food production with beautiful flower production. So next up is Tip Top Mahogany Nasturtium. These are 8 to 10-inch plants, and they hold their blooms above the foliage, making it for an extra lush, colorful display. I've grown nasturtiums for years. This is a new variety for me. These blooms are edible, quite delicious with a spicy kick. And they need full to partial sun. And I don't know, many times the seeds that come off nasturtiums are called a poor man's caper. So I'm interested in letting some of this go to seed this year and seeing what that tastes like. If they get treated like a caper and get pickled, um, it'd be pretty good. Last one up is vintage brown stock. One more stock. Vintage brown stock. It's a dusty rose colored single stem, and apparently with a fabulous fragrance. Also, the blooms are edible, and apparently most of these stocks have been used as natural dyes, both for food and other things. Like uh, they list here they dye rice with it, cookies. I imagine you could, if it works for that, you can use it for fabric. These require 8 to 12 hours of sun, so pretty much full sun, and they are also frost hardy. So that's it for my Baker Creek selection. That is not the end of my flowers by any means, but I will probably do these or do it more now as I'm planting them. Uh, look at the actual varieties that I'm planting. So I hope you enjoyed this. Uh, until next time, bye now.